Challenge yourself to change lives with the Big Belt Buckle Challenge. They make a no-strings-attached charitable donation when participants complete one or all of the 6 athletic challenges. In doing so, they aim to build a worldwide community that transcends sport and encourages people to make a positive lifestyle change while helping those in need. For 2023, a difficult but doable set of challenges has been created by Jeff Privete himself. They have all been inspired by his personal experiences throughout 2022. The events can be done in any order, and with the exception of the Road Gravel Challenge, there is no time limit for completion of a given event. All you have to do is make it through. Completing all 6 will require an incredible amount of dedication, courage, and a willingness to embrace the journey, regardless of the outcome. Won't you join Jeff at thebigbeltbucklechallenge.org? This is the Big Belt Buckle Challenge. Hello and welcome to the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate podcast. Thanks for tuning in. You've got Jim Riley here and my partner, Rod Kuntz. Rod,
hey, Jim.
You ready for another show?
Yes, sir.
I look at the analytics of the shows overall, and these shows are in the top 10, even with some of my big name guests on my other podcasts. So good job. We must be talking about something important.
Well, either that or we're the new big names. Who knows?
I think maybe it's topic related.
Well, I think we're just 2 real guys, who like to go deep on some important topics.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's some value there. What's interesting, I'm making an observation right now. We're really integrated in the school system, as you know. We're teaching. If you don't know, Rod and I, or I should say, Mr. Kuntz and I, have been teaching an entrepreneur class at a private school, K through 12, but we teach the high schoolers this entire last year, and we teach young entrepreneur business and leadership, and we do that for 3 hours a week. We break it up amongst the 2 of us, and we're in the last days.
Last days.
Between that and being on school board myself, I haven't seen or noticed the build up for summer, and the kids just can't wait to get out of school for 40 years. It's amazing, how quickly they check out of their school brains and into I want to be done brains. And the surprising factor for me, and I suppose I feel a little bit of this, the staff, they're all ready for summer too. Like you feel a global shift. Like we're ready for summer and be done right now.
Right. I walked in yesterday and I said, I'm already feeling like I'm going to miss this.
Mm-hmm.
And the front desk staff was like, "Oh, not us." It's like, okay, well, I guess when you're entrenched in an industry that works 9 months out of the year instead of 12, you get into that ritual almost of, okay, this is where we get to check out.
Yeah. What's interesting about that though, and I'm relating it to business and in personal life outside of the school system, is that we get so wrapped into like finish dates, holidays, seasons, transitions, that we just, our effort wanes a lot. And you know what? I'll take credit for that too. Like I know the last class I did, we went outside and we did shotgun speeches for our 45-minute class, which was of value, but the lesson plan was pretty short. And I think that we do that as humans. And one of the things that I didn't do on 75 Hard is ease into the finish line. I always, the last 3 times I finished 75 Hard, I ramped up my program the last 5 days because I wanted to come sliding into home. And as I'm talking right now, I think Monday, which will be my last class that I teach, I think Monday might be more of a challenging day. I think I might have to pull together a challenging lesson and slide into home. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on people's transitioning in and out of things like this?
Well, I think there's a lot of peer pressure. There's a lot of, I don't know, we pick up on the vibes that other people have, both in the workplace and outside of the workplace, because there becomes, even seasonally, there are a few things that happen, I see, Jim, and I've noticed this over the course of several careers, especially in retail, that they're always looking for something to push off of. You need a reason for a sale, right? You just don't, if you do the same thing all the time, it's not an event. It's not a sale. And so they push off of holidays. And there's typically, you can find a holiday a month, especially if you're Canadian.
Yeah.
They have a holiday every month, Well, we have a good holiday at least every quarter. And you can find holidays in every month if you're looking, whether it's Valentine's Day in February or Grandparents' Day or whatever it is. There's always a day. So you look for these things to push off of. And especially when it gives you extra time off, holiday weekends, which we just came off of Memorial Day, people have this, well, I deserve it. And part of it, I have to say, Jim, I think it's entitlement mentality. We deserve a break. We've worked hard for the whole month. We deserve to take extra time off. And there's enough farmer in me, enough rancher in me to know that we're not made to take breaks.
Yeah.
You get the work done, and then you spend the time that you need outside of work to, pursue your other passions and interests. But the work always gets done first.
Yeah.
Even ranching with rodeo, the rancher I worked for, they were big into rodeo, but the stock was always taken care of first. And before they went off to out of town events, the hired help knew what was happening, and everyone did the big push to earn that extra time. But you got back and there was no coasting. They were sliding into home. They were running and pushing hard. Like you just said, you got to hit it hard.
Yeah.
So don't follow the herd is what I'm saying.
Well, I think you just solidified it for me that Monday's lesson at school, if you're listening, you're one of our students, sorry. I think I have a lesson plan idea. It's not going to be easy either. So we can slide into home on the last day. Okay. I've got a learning lesson as an adult that I'd like to share. And then I have a topic.
All right.
So this lesson's for everybody. I was cleaning out the storage unit, which is the area below my staircase at home. I was looking for something for my kids that my wife had as a child. And I stumbled into my own childhood or young adult, box of stuff. And in the box was a bag. And inside the bag was a journal that I gave my dad. Now you have to know that I didn't have a very good relationship with my dad most of my life. And one way that I thought that I was going to make amends and build my relationship with him was this. It's titled, Dad, Share Your Life with Me. And basically it's probably, 100, 200 pages. And it has questions. What did you do with, let's see, did you ever take something that wasn't yours? What did you do with it? Did you get caught? What was your high school prom like? What was your first car? It's all these questions. Do you remember your first pizza? All these questions to get to know your dad better. And I thought, what a great gift. We don't talk, we don't like each other. Maybe this will bring us closer. Well, my dad sent it back to me with a letter. And I read the letter in my immaturity. I think I was in my late 20s, maybe early 30s. Read the letter in my immaturity and put it in the storage bin. Never looked at it again until a couple days ago. I reread the letter, and this is where the lesson's at, okay? I was trying to take a shortcut. I wanted to build a relationship with my dad. I was trying to take a shortcut. I gave him a book that he would have to fill out, that he would have to do the work, and then share it with me, and then I'd get to read it. His note said, Jim, a gift of a journey through life. I could easily write it down. And then there was the big, but you would miss the trip. And basically he goes on to say that the answers would be flat on paper and the soul searching would never happen if I were to read it. But if I would take the time to build my relationship with him and do the soul searching together, that those stories would come alive. In other words, instead of giving my dad a job to do, how about going on the journey alongside of him and learning all those stories, out fishing or hiking or just driving to the grocery store. So sad to look back at that and realize that my attempt was feeble and his was great. And, although we did take the last couple fishing trips and they were really, really good ones, I missed out on some opportunity, and there it was on paper. So, don't learn that lesson when it's too late. My dad is gone, and there was probably some soul searching or learning that I never got from him. So that is my lesson in life that I wanted to share.
Wow. That I'm saying wow for a couple of different reasons. Number one, it's a great story. And I love the fact that your father looked deep into that when he wrote that letter. And yeah, I was tearing up as you read it. Now here's the irony. On Father's Day, what is not even a month ago, right?
Father's Day is coming up.
Oh, it's coming up. Okay, so it was my birthday. Sorry, it was my birthday, April 8th. Okay. My oldest daughter gave me one of those journals, but she didn't give it to me to fill out for her. She gave it to me to fill out for the grandkids. She said, "We know most of this stuff, but I want you to be able to write it down so that my children will have these memories of, well, who was Gappy?" My grandkids call me Gappy. Now, what did Gappy do? What was he like when he was a kid? And she wanted me to write that down so that when I'm gone, I would be telling them that story on paper. So it's kind of interesting, it's the neat thing is every one of us has a story in us. Every one of us has a book in us. And I think we should write it down. And yes, don't forsake those personal relationships because that's where the gold is. But there's still nuggets out there that other people can pick up.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think what
I'm glad
I'm
you had
going
that
to do,
opportunity, Jim.
yeah, it's crazy to go back and read that. I'm glad that I went back and read it because what it shows to me is in my maturity, in my 50s finally. I realized that my dad did have a lot more depth than I thought he was capable of having. And that's on me. I should have taken the time to get to know him better earlier in life. Like I said, I did have those great moments towards the end. What I'm planning on doing is I kept the book out. And what I'm going to do is go through it with my girls in person. I'm not going to write it down. I'm going to just go through it in person and just talk through these things and use that as a stimulus for additional conversations. We spend so much time together. But I want to spend more time just going through some of these silly questions that are in there. So anyways, sounds like you have a choice to make as well. But that's a life lesson. I think life lessons are as important as business lessons. And that's why I chose to share it here, because the way that we live our lives and how we do things with our family and loved ones has a direct effect on our businesses.
Absolutely, it does. And it all had a direct effect on the people we became.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. The topic for the day is, what is the secret sauce? What is the secret sauce? And I spoke to somebody yesterday who's interested in being he wanted some business consulting, and I know him, and we've known each other for, I don't know, about a year, and he's heard passing what I do for work. And he called me, he goes, "You do business consulting, right?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I also have a membership group called the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate, where we also have some lessons and Q&A, and we're here to help entrepreneurs." He goes, "Oh, okay. That's what I thought." He goes, "I'm in the construction excavation business specifically." He says, I'm getting outbid here and there, and I want to build up my business and I want to buy equipment." He goes, "But I'm just wondering, like, what's the secret? Like, I'm getting outbid. Do you know something about excavation or other opportunities that are out there that maybe I'm unaware of?" And this is exactly what I want to talk about, Rod. And I'll tell this gentleman that we did the show too. And I said this to him on the phone. Oftentimes we're looking for the secret sauce in what we're doing. And sometimes it just doesn't exist. The secret sauce is exactly what you're doing, but doing more of it, or doing it better, or doing it consistently, or being patient with the process over a long period of time. That's really the secret sauce. If you're passionate about what you're doing, if you've applied your values to what you're doing and your goals are associated with that and you're passionate about it, that's the secret sauce right there. Just keep doing it well, do it better than others, and be there for the long run, not the short fix. And I'd like to drag this out and try to tell you more about the secret sauce of doing it, but there isn't more to that. Just doing more of it. Right. And I want you to weigh in on this in a second, but you complimented one of our members about what you're seeing him doing in public and how he's ramping up his business. And because I've known him longer than you, I just suggest yeah, he's finally coming in to his own, as you see, but he's been doing this for a while. He's been very passionate about his membership in groups like ours and the Lion's Den. And he sees the value in that. And he's taking those teachings and he's applying them. And you can see the fruits of that labor. And to me, it's been because he's taken the long, patient road and has been very consistent. So I don't know. The secret sauce is that simple, in my opinion.
Well, I think, are you ready to turn it over to me?
Yeah, go.
Well, you summed it up. It's persistent and consistent and patience, because I think people think it's synonymous that secret sauce, success, and instant gratification are all simultaneous.
Mm-hmm.
They happen simultaneously, and they're not. In fact, I think it's mutually exclusive. If you're well, let's look at music. How many one-hit wonders were there out there? And did they just give up? Did they quit? Did they not have the right manager? What happened? How can they have this great song that just blows through the charts and then you never hear from them again?
Yeah.
Did the group break up? Did the success go to their head? There's probably a different story for every one of them. And if you think about your excavator, your contractor there, and he's outbid, well, certainly he's not outbid on every single job. And if he is, then there might be a problem. But if he's outbid on some, so what? Over the course of time, that's just some. And there are enough customers for all of us, no matter what it is we do. There are enough clients for all of us, no matter what it is we do, that will be a good fit for us, and we will be the best fit for them. Mm-hmm. If we truly believe that what we do is offering value to them, and we're not overpriced, we're not doing something nefarious or anything else, that if we're doing it the best way we can, the right customers will come. And how many times do you hear the stories of someone saying, oh, yeah, he just was like an overnight success. And it's like, well, wait a second, even the one-hit wonders, how many hours did they spend practicing in their garage before they even got their first little gig, at a prom or some wedding or something? They probably worked for 10 years before they got it, to that point where somebody noticed them. And it's the same in business. There's no one-hit wonders out there. There's not one. I don't care who. Look at any industry, look at any company, and I'll tell you there's a backstory behind it that you're not looking at. If you think that they just came into that success instantaneously, there's a backstory in every one of them. So, yeah, the secret sauce, hard work and patience. That's the secret sauce.
Yeah, I think, and patience is so key. It's also a numbers game when you're looking at, winning the bids, like you said, right? So if he's losing some bids, there's plenty more out there. What's interesting, especially where we live, and I know you've heard this a dozen times, probably a week, Rod, is you're looking to get a service done and people are like, there's nobody available. Everybody's booked out, especially in excavation and construction in Montana right now. They're booked out for 6 months or 2 years. Like, it's a numbers game. You need to go find all those people that can't get somebody because they're all booked out. Sometimes I just revel at how small town this is. I mentioned to you before we got on air, I had lunch with the mayor of Kalispell yesterday, which was always an honor to spend time with him. I have a lot of respect for what he's doing. And we were talking about the building in town and the businesses in town. I said, well, what's good and what's bad? And we were talking about the future development of the hotel. And some businesses, are leaving town, some are suffering, and there's many that are succeeding. I said, well, what about the hotel project? He goes, they're fine. I said, really? He goes, yeah, because they plan for the ups and downs of economy over long periods of time. They're well funded.
Right.
They're not going to slow down or change pace based on what's happening in economy or construction prices or anything else right now, because they're long-term strategists. They're patient.
Right.
So when you look at good examples of people that are out there in business that you can emulate, look at the ones that are successful and how they operate. They're not trying to get that hotel done in a day because they got to make revenue tomorrow because they put everything on the line and they're broke. They built a long-term plan and they're following their plan, not the plan of our inflated government right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it just goes back to being patient. There's no secret sauce. Build your plan around your values and your goals. And when I say plan, build your business plan around that. Build out long-term. And I want to add one little caveat to this, Rod. And I really want to hear your thoughts on this. I advised a client in our discussions about, their business, and they had a lot of businesses. They had 9. And we were talking personally, okay, you've got all these businesses. What is your 5-year plan? What does it look like 5 years down the road? And the client says to me, he goes, Jim, nobody's ever asked me that before. I said, well, look, when I came to Montana, I built out a 5-year plan or more because it was really about my kids. What did it look like, at this point in their lives for me in my working life, in my business, et cetera? What are my importances? What are my values? And what is it going to be in 5 years down the road? And we started talking about that. And, through consecutive conversations, we kept coming back to the here and now. I said, that's fine, but where does this connect those dots? Because if you get 5 years down the road and you look back at your journey and you're not satisfied with it, or you're not where you want to be, you've missed the mark by not having a 5-year plan. And what was interesting about that, I'm not with the client anymore. He's also close friends with another business leader and influencer. And I saw that business leader post, I never do a 5-year plan. It's all about here and now. I was like, I think that's bad advice. I really think that we need to look into the distance and see where that puts us, personally, and build our business towards that. That's just my opinion. I'd be really curious as to what yours is. And I guess we can wrap up after that.
Well, let me make it really clear, right? You don't go into war and we're in a battle. Okay. Everybody out there who's listening to this, we are in a battle every single day. And we're not face to face with the battle like we used to be when we were in an agrarian culture, right? Where one bad weather storm could literally take you and your family out, right? We're not the Donner Party anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we are in a battle. And now we're insulated from the front line of that battle. Okay. We've got grocery stores and security of permanent shelter, and we've got clean water, either it's a well or septic systems, or, we're on city services. So we are insulated from the battle, but we're in a battle. And when you're in a battle, if you want to win the battle, you have to have a strategy. You have to have a battle plan. And if you don't, you are aimless. You are wandering aimlessly if you do not have a long-term strategy. Mm. If your only strategy is to live through today to tomorrow, or we know people who go paycheck to paycheck. If you're getting paid once a week and your strategy is to make it to next week, or you're getting paid twice a week or once a month, then, that's your strategy, is to survive that. That's a short-term wandering strategy. It's not taking you from point A to point B. So yeah, I think that's bad advice to just live in the moment. You can appreciate the moment and live in the moment and embrace the moment and still have a strategy for your future. And you better have the long-term strategy for the future of your soul. You better have a long-term strategy for the future of your family. And maybe there's the difference. I don't think I had that same mindset before I had children.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, looking back and to be honest, I didn't, because I didn't care. It was just me, right? Once you start a family, or once you have, and if you have a spouse and you can kind of be free agents together, that's great until reality sets in. And we're not doing this for ourselves. We're doing this for the next generation. We're doing this for the next 5 generations. So at least I am. So my goal is to make a difference. What I think it was Margaret Thatcher, and I think she was quoting somebody else, but she said, success, real leadership is planting trees in whose shade you will never sit. That's my 5-year strategy. I want to make this better for the people I will never meet. That's my strategy.
Well, you blew it all out of the water with that last statement, right? Because what that is not a selfish statement,
right?
It's given it all for the future, whomever that future entails, whether those are your kids, grandkids, or somebody else's kids if you don't have any, right? That is a very unselfish approach. I want to be the devil's advocate on my own question and my own answer for a second with you, because I'd love to hear your point of view. And that is, when you say living in the moment, I want to be fair to the people that I'm talking about, because it wasn't necessarily living in the moment like, hey, I'm going to go, travel to Europe because that's what I can do in the moment. It was more like, if I'm succeeding in business, if I'm making $1 million a month in the moment, I don't care what 5 years looks like from now. That's really more of the position that they were coming from, is, hey, I'm making money now, hordes of it, whatever that looks like. So I'm not going to worry about 5 years from now. Now, as I'm saying that out loud, I hear how naive that sounds, but I'm speaking on behalf of somebody else to keep the story right. So what are your thoughts on that? If somebody's listening going, well, Rod, I'm selling real estate right now and I'm crushing it. I'm making $1 million a month. What do I care that what happens 5 years from now? I'm going to be fine.
2008.
Yeah.
Okay. There. 2008. Everything crumbled.
Yeah, here comes the dummy tax we paid, right?
That's right. That's right. And before that, I mean, it wasn't just, was it the 1920s?
Well, look at Reagan,
the big stock market crash,
pre-Reagan, he fixed a disaster.
Yeah. So we're not as secure as money makes us feel. Okay. Yeah. Let me sum it up there. We are not as secure as money can make us feel. Money is a false security. It gives us a false sense of security. Because if you're getting your security from money, where's your security when the money goes away? Mm-hmm. And who are you dependent on for that money? Right? And you might think you're insulated from it, and maybe you are. Maybe there are people who have enough income streams from enough different things that they would be mostly insulated from something that could be catastrophic to the rest of the nation. Okay, so that's good. So where's the benevolence come in? What have you done to help the other people get through it? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Everyone's on their own journey, and mine is to help everyone's journey be the best it can possibly be. And to me, that means you need to look ahead. That's just where I'm at. And I'm not the end all be all, but I've been around for several decades, sucking air on this planet that I don't deserve. And I've reaped the benefits of it. I've absolutely had a wonderful, absolutely terrific life. And I would like everyone to get to my age and be able to say the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. What a great way to wrap it up. Thank you for that detailed answer also, because I feel the same. And it's interesting because when I look back at the last 4 or 5 years, when my kids were big enough to enjoy every moment with them, I don't regret a single thing about building out a 5-year plan 5 years ago.
Right. What's the harm in it?
Well, none really. And when you hit the nail on the head, when you look back at what that plan was and you look at the future and go, well, I know what the next 5 years looks like and it's good. It's worth it. So, okay. Well, that was two good topics, actually, the secret sauce and the 5-year plan. And if you like what you're hearing on the show, please share it with others. We're having fun doing this. We'd love to hear from you. If you've got your own topics, we'll talk about them. Just about anything, right? Right.
We'll go anywhere. Absolutely.
Yeah. And if you are interested in becoming a member of the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate, we've got a great community of people, a lot of successful business entrepreneurs that we've seen come out of there in the last year. Very, very proud of those members. Just go to the youngentrepreneurs.syndicate.com and you can sign up right there. Super easy. We hold our calls on Monday nights. We do a Zoom with a curriculum for 20, 30 minutes and then a robust Q&A where you can ask all those business questions right there. And then, of course, we're available to you outside of that. So, Rod, have a great weekend or whatever it turns out to be when this show pops up. But yeah, thanks for your time today. Good seeing you.
You bet. Hey, two quick things before we knock it off here. And that is, it is graduation time. If you're listening to this podcast in real life time, and I can't think of a better thing to give your kids, whether they're going to college or not, if they're graduating from high school, then the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate, a membership to the syndicate, because we're covering all those things you don't learn in school and you won't learn in college either. So, and then for anybody who's out there who's considering homeschooling, or you are homeschooling, or you want to supplement the public education or private education that you're already doing on the business end of things, keep your eyes open, because the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate is coming up with its own curriculum that will be made available for those people. So exciting things happening. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, thanks for those 2 points at the end there. All right, everybody have a great week.